that would be a disaster. But unfortunately, that happens.
Yes, yes.
Fortunately, that happens. So everyone has to, then keep the bar,
Yeah. Just keep raising the bar,
Yes.
So you've actually mentioned very interestingly about the diagnosis part, and just to run through very quickly to summarize, we've covered the biomed scan, the OG scan, the bio-EAV, even the Medipulse as well, right?
Which is based on the plethysmography.
Yeah, which you mentioned. So these are all, I think, to most viewers might be a bit new, because it's not something that you walk into your normal GP clinic and it's available. So where would, let's say, viewers be able to come and sort of, get these machines tested on them and sort of to get the very specific results? Where would you recommend they go? Let's say they're around the neighborhood in KL.
Well, in any European wellness retreat facility, whichever country you are, where European wellness has its facilities, here, please, in European wellness retreat.
Yeah.
Retreat
we have one here, right? Yeah,
yes, we have, and I think it would be a great idea to make kind of a tour.
Yeah.
Maybe some kind of review, and from the first hand, the experience of going through different procedures and going through different therapies and all, it's very exciting, in the same time. It's very, very exciting, and it's very pleasurable. It's not something that is painful. It's not something that is associated with any negative emotions or any suffering. No, you feel great.
Just pop by the center, sort of run the test, get the results, and then immediately.
Just don't drop by. Manage your life properly.
Okay.
Manage your well-being properly. Love yourself.
Oh, definitely.
Take care of yourself as somebody whom you really love. As
your body is your biggest asset.
Yeah, your body is your biggest asset. So love it, invest in it, pamper it. I mean, in a good way.
Yeah.
Pamper it and make sure that it runs optimally. And then it brings you back happiness. And not the pain.
Correct. Just like, and even why we do annual servicing of our cars, right? Because you want your car to run well, you want the engine to last long,
And you don't want to spend more on
fixing it. Yeah.
It's really broke down.
Correct. Same thing with the human body as well, right?
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a bit on the diagnose. I remember in the DDRR, you also mentioned that there is that detox element, right?
Detox.
Yeah.
There are you see that the word detox is very stretchable here. It doesn't mean that everyone necessarily has to go for some particular detox procedures and all, but let me give you just some examples. Okay? For instance, the hydrocolon therapy.
Okay.
A lot of people think that unless you're very old, you're prone to constipation, or you have really some horrible problems with digestion and constant bloating and all, then maybe you will benefit from that.
Just go and flush it all out.
Yeah, but in reality, you will not believe that even a very young individuals, those who in their 20s, and they allegedly have no problem with their digestion, and they say, well, everything is just like according to the clock, it's not, the detox is a very stretchable definition, It doesn't mean that, again, it should not be generic, okay? It should not be the same that is done to everyone, okay? And perhaps this is one of the most personalized items on the list. There are so many methods of detox, whether the intracorporeal, extracorporeal. There are ways of perhaps you heard so many about the cleansing when people drink they prepare something,
juices,
some juices, something
detox.
that has some laxative effects, or and so on and so forth, with that. And then, of course, on the other hand, people think that it's more for the very old folks, like if you're talking about the colonic cleansing and the hydrocolon therapy. Generally, common perception is such that As long as I'm young and I have more or less regular bowel opening, then I'm gonna be totally fine, and I would not benefit. I don't need actually any of the detox. You will be quite surprised that even if you take young individuals in their early 20s, those who have a very regular bowel opening, like everything just on the clock, on the clock, yes. And when we do the hydrocolon therapy, it's surprising huge amount is flushed out, and it's not only old residual, say fecal matter or the content of the bowel, but you see all sorts of mucus and fiber, and the stuff's really bizarre stuff,
How did it get in? Is it through their diet or their lifestyle?
Yeah, well, that's what people eat, of course.
So if you eat a lot of junk, probably just get stuck in there.
And the processed food and who knows what, Thing is, nobody eats, hardly anyone eats that ideal diet. And when people eat, people feed themselves. Right?
They eat what they like, not what they
eat. What they like, and they feed themselves.
Yeah.
But while doing that, they actually forget that they were supposed to feed few billions or maybe trillions of good bacteria that live in the gut, help to digest that food, produce necessary vitamins and other biologically active compounds, without which we cannot have a normal life. Okay, and they also protect us from the harmful bacteria. So you gotta feed them, and what they love to eat is the fiber.
So when people don't have enough fiber in the diet, that's why you have all these problems.
Frozen food, processed food, by default it doesn't have any diet. It just is deprived of that.
Fiber, yeah.
Yeah, but it's an extremely important component. And then you have first the replacement of the normal flora, so there's an alteration in the bacteria that live in your gut. And that will cause the damage to that endothelial, the cell lining, in the mucosa. Okay, and that is also a very, very sensitive organ. It's a very sensitive immune organ as well, and it's sort of a two-way gate, right? It's in and out.
Yep.
Okay, and there's a condition which is called Leaky Gut Syndrome. High chances that if you go and see a family physician or the GP and you talk about the leaky gut, either they will not have any understanding of that, or there will be a bit of a misconception, or they may not be informed properly about that, or even if they're informed, they don't have the means to improve that in their arsenal.
So it's not one of those conventional issues, right, that they can deal with, like I have this tool or this equipment in my place.
Because it is impossible to have everything. Yeah, it's impossible to have everything unless you're a huge hypermarket or you're a huge medical center. But again, the medical center will be focused on medical components. Nobody will equip 100% with wellness devices.
That's why you need a wellness center.
That's why you need the wellness center to provide wellness for yourself. And is it something that has to be done very often? No, you're talking maybe sometimes once in a few months, well, not more often than once in a couple of months, unless it is really, really indicated for you. Okay? And then again, bear in mind, it's not going to be done forever.
Just for that moment till your body...
It's done throughout that period of time when the practitioner is actively working on that aspect of well-being. And that will coincide with other measures. So on one hand, you're going to modify the nutrition of the person. Okay. On the other hand, you will try to eliminate the residues from the gut and introduce normal flora that's supposed to be there, Do you remember how we talked about probiotics?
Yes, in the 5
Right, in the 5x5 series. People would rather resort to just taking the probiotics for indefinite period of time, very prolonged intake, changing probiotics, or just taking them without a clue. You know, because they do not change the actual reason for that. You know, they do not approach the core of the disease. They don't change the nutrition. They do not do the detox part of it. You know, so when those both things are done, the need in the prolonged intake of probiotics, it just disappears. You know, it totally just disappears. There are other ways how to make your system optimal.
And produce its own, rather than having to pop it externally, right?
And once you fix that, there will be, you're gonna be surprised, there are gonna be so many things changed for better in life.
Skin condition.
Skin condition, absolutely right. Because a large number of the autoimmune condition or the allergies and all are actually related to the gut health. Yeah, because it's that double-sided two-way door, you know, passage for toxins in, and when we lose, we can easily lose essential molecules, you know, which we were supposed to retain, you know, but just we lose them because of improper digestion. When you're prone to the constipation and then the diarrheas after that, you know, all these the altered bowel habits, you know, it all matters a lot. It all matters a lot, right? And then practically, you know, I hear that in almost every case, you know, I hardly can recall a person who would be absolutely satisfied and happy with their digestive system. They would neither complain on the bloating or some regurgitation,
acid reflux, gasiness.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, you know. And people use all sorts of pills, you know. It's called that therapeutic polypragmacy, you know. They just keep on stacking medication, different remedies, either traditional or something purchased from the TCM or the normal pharmacy or some supplement store or bought online, and they just keep on doing that, sometimes doing even more damage, or sometimes even not understanding that they may use the same product, the same ingredient in a different form without even knowing that.
So they're actually overdosing in a way, right?
Yes, or they may use different compounds which sort of contradict each other.
Then you get even more complications.
You know, that's another one of the things that we go in details of what are your medications that you're on, what are the supplements that you're on, okay, apart from the, of course, the nutrition, you know, and all of that is optimized. Okay, I really love to use this word, optimized. And of course, parallel to that, because holistic means not only you approach all or as many aspects of the well-being as possible, but another meaning of the holistic means that it all has to be done at one go.
You cannot be thinking, I want to just work on this first and tomorrow it's like, it has to.
Right.
Which is really important, I think.
Yes, if you want to engage in a battle against a disease that is yet to come, or is somewhere on the way, and if you want to engage successfully in a battle against the aging, you cannot just address one component today, second component tomorrow, next component next month. No. We age holistically, we deteriorate holistically. None of the tissues, none of the organs, not a single cell in our body will sit and wait and give the opportunity to its neighboring cells to age while I'll just sit here and wait. It's not my turn yet. It's not my time.
Yeah.
No, when we age and when we deteriorate, it's like an avalanche.
Yeah.
It's like a snowball. It's getting bigger and bigger. It's growing, and it's more and more disastrous. And if you don't stop it at some particular point, it becomes unstoppable.
And I think also I've noticed this, especially for those who are under stress, right? Like, there's this saying, that stress can age you, in 5 years. Literally, let's say you're constantly...
Even faster. Well, it's definitely even faster.
Yeah.
Definitely even faster. So when a practitioner has a good understanding, a good knowledge about the drivers of aging, what to look for, means a properly educated, a properly informed practitioner, and he's sort of armed with proper tools, knowledge and tools. The battle against aging has to be started simultaneously in all directions, in all fronts. Okay, that is the only way for success.
Yeah.
That is the only way for success.
Agree. Okay, and then also you mentioned that detox, right? It's very inclusive, and so when I was looking online, there were a few that sort of popped up on my list when I was searching the word detox, and some of you viewers may have come across it as well. There's this thing called ozone, which I think a lot of people are looking at.
Yeah, it is, but again, very interesting thing is that certain procedures or certain therapies, they might be multifunctional. It, like for instance, systemic hypothermia, it has the detox component, all right? That's why, and by the way, most of the people perceive systemic hypothermia to be purely a detox procedure. They say, when I sweat, there's will be toxins coming out and all. Frankly speaking, that's not so. Yeah, it's a bit of a misconception.
It's like going to a sauna or working out really hard and you sweat a lot and you think it's good, right? Because everything just comes out.
Well, everything will not come out. You perhaps will detoxify yourself in some way, but you're gonna lose electrolytes also. You have to replenish electrolytes. It's not that simple, okay? It's not that simple. And if you expect that the toxins will just somehow come out through your skin pores, with the sweat and all, that would be naive, to say the least. The actual mechanisms through which it works are a bit more complicated. So when we talk about the systemic hypothermia, of course there are so many angles of its medicinal application. It is used in cancer treatment. It is also used to enhance other treatment methodologies, like the adjuvant, the radiotherapy, the chemotherapy, and all. There are certain benefits in that, but the mechanisms are slightly different. On one hand, it is due to this systemic hypothermia. The increase of the core temperature will produce or will increase the production of the endorphins that will bring that sense of happiness, the pain reduction, okay, especially those chronic aches and pains, okay. And it will increase the amount of catecholamines, some other bioactive molecules. But what is important and what the recent scientific data shows, it's that it's a creation of the heat shock proteins. It's those specific molecules that are produced just on the cellular level, cellular and the tissue level. They will launch the entire cascade of cellular reparative responses that will create a sort of a repair, conditions of repair and regeneration for the tissues, for the cells. Okay, that's how it works. There's also an application of very low temperature, which is called the cryotherapy. Cryotherapy has tremendous anti-aging properties, and actually it's becoming more and more popular even among youngsters.
Yeah.
Teenagers, people in 20s and 30s are doing that.
Going for anti-aging freezing.
Going for that free anti-aging, yeah, but of course, you know, it can be achieved with by different ways, and of course with different amount of success. The least productive would be just purchasing, and then there are vendors now who deliver a huge amount of ice. You can fill in the whole bathtub. Yeah, well, it's done now.
It's like an ice bucket challenge, but without pouring in your head, you just...
And you dip there, but of course, same as with the sauna, you will not get 100% sort of equally distributed effect. Okay, so that's where the difference between the DIY and spa, or just a regular wellness center, like a family spa wellness center, and an anti-aging, fully equipped, medicinal, longevity, health span and lifespan wellness facility. That would be different, because what is used there is more of a medical grade.
Which I think it's important, because, you know, like you said, a lot of these generic wellness centers, they would usually have, of course, infrared saunas. Sometimes they do. Then they would have the dry sauna, wet sauna. They would have a bit of a hydrotherapy. You know, you get into the pool.
That is recreational. Yeah, that is recreational. That is just to pamper yourself a bit. You know, this and that. But of course, there are benefits. Health benefits. Absolutely. But it's not targeted. It's not planned. It's not programmatic. And it's not 100% accurate and effective. As an opposite, when you can use the medical grade wellness, like the systemic hypothermia medical grade device. Okay, a cryotherapy, a medical grade device.